Hey, what's up, viewers? NS Pittsburgh Line Railfan here, and welcome back to another video. And welcome to a new series that I'm going to call Railfanning DIY. And before we get to our first episode, I'm going to explain what this is. Railfanning DIY is going to be a series where I'm going to tell you about some common situations that all of us rail fans have had to deal with in a time, and I'm going to give you some tips and techniques that I've used in order to solve these problems. And in the first episode is going to be, what do you do if you're in the middle of filming a train and your battery is running low? So let's get into the first episode. So I'm sure you viewers have had to deal with this situation a couple times throughout your life. So before I get to any tips or techniques or anything like that, I would like to share something. So yesterday I did some research about how batteries, or how the weather affects batteries in a device. And here is what I found. This is from a website called GESrepair.com, and here's what it says. Batteries within mobile electronics backup for programming. Batteries within mobile electronics backups for programmable logic controllers or batteries and uninterruptible power supplies and chargers can all be negatively affected by cold weather. When a battery gets cold, it discharges at a more rapid rate. This discharge rate, also called rundown, will gradually lessen the charge potential even when the battery warms up. This will lead to the battery eventually becoming not able to effectively hold a charge at all. So basically, what is that even saying? Well, basically, when you have a device that has a battery and you have that device out for too long, that cold weather is going to affect that battery a lot. It's going to cause the battery, it's going to cause the power that the battery has, and it's going to cause that power to decrease very rapidly. Usually it usually takes a little longer before a battery goes fully dead. But in cold weather, it actually goes dead very quickly. And I've actually had experiences while out rail fanning where I've actually had to deal with this situation. And so before we get to the techniques, here are some very important tips that I'm going to give you. Number one is going to be always, always, always make sure to keep your device in a warm spot. So when I'm out rail fanning, I like to put my camera in my coat pocket so that way it stays warm, because you don't want to have your device outside in the cold, because you want to be able to save battery whenever you are rail fanning. And that's something that I do while I'm out rail fanning. And the big reason for why I put my camera in my coat pocket, and not just in my coat pocket, but zip the coat pocket up, is so that way, while I'm waiting for a train and while there might be a lull in train action, I'm able to keep the device warm, and it doesn't take too long. And I don't want to say that. So I don't have to deal with the battery going low. Now, there's been situations where I've actually still did, the tip I gave you, where, I've put the camera in my coat pocket, and whenever let me just say this before I continue. I have been in situations where, actually, while I'm out rail fanning, I have been in situations where it's very cold. It's like 20s or 30s, and the battery in my camera is starting to decrease in power. And that's why a good tip is, like I said, put your camera in somewhere where it's going to stay warm. You can put it in your coat pocket, like I said. You can also put it in your vehicle. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that putting the camera in the vehicle is not a good idea. But if you're rail fanning on a busy line like I do, once every week, the NS Pittsburgh line, you do not want to leave your device in a vehicle, because you want to be able to have your device with you at the ready whenever a train crew and a train clears a particular control point. So you want to make sure you keep your device in your coat pocket. So that way, when that train clears the control point, whether it's CP Works or CP Altoona, you have that at the ready, and you don't have to worry about taking too much time. And now I'm going to get to the technique. So, what do I do when I'm in this situation where I'm filming a train and my battery's running low? I have been in this situation multiple times, and this is going to be a very interesting technique. So I'm going to show you this first. So this is a battery that my mom actually bought me for Christmas, and this particular battery actually has two holes, and these two holes allow you to put charge two devices at the same time. So I can charge my camera and my phone at the same time. This is my new camera that my mom bought me for Christmas, and I'm going to show you what I do. So in the past, I've just went back into the vehicle and gotten another battery, and sometimes that works, but sometimes there's a really good train that you really want to see the whole thing. So what do you do? So this is where the technique's going to come in. So this, and I'm not sure if this is the right cord. So the charger is connected to this battery. So that's what you're going to do. And I do recommend that when you're shopping that you buy a battery like this. So that way you can charge this while you're shooting a train. What you're going to do is you're going to connect your camera charger or your phone charger to this. The one part of your charger is going to go here, and then your camera, this other part, is going to go right here. So there it is. There's a setup for the viewers at home. So here's a really interesting technique that I use. This isn't the only technique. Okay, so let me see if I can find this. So one really interesting technique that I use whenever I'm out rail fanning, and I've actually done this, I believe, a couple times, but one thing that I do, and this is a really interesting technique here. I was just checking to see if the iPad was still recording. So here's the technique. So somewhere around your house you should have a box of Ziploc, like little plastic Ziploc bags. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna get a plastic Ziploc bag, and I'm gonna show you viewers an example before I give you what to do. So here's the Ziploc bag, and what you're going to do is you're going to use one of your fingers, and you're going to try, or actually you're going to try to poke a hole in the Ziploc bag. Now, you viewers are probably wondering, why do you want a hole in a Ziploc bag? Well, the answer to that question is you want to make sure that you have somewhere where you can put your charger in so you don't have to worry about holding it. Now, there's been times where I've actually had to hold this battery while I'm shooting a train, so the camera is still rolling. Now, I shot a 268 on not Christmas, on my 18th birthday, and I actually have been using a tripod that a friend of mine from church gave me, and the problem with that tripod is that it doesn't have the hook. Now, what do I mean by a hook? Well, let me explain that right now. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so here is my old tripod right here. So, now what do I mean by the hook? There we go. So what do I mean by the hook? So if you look, let me see how I can. So I don't know if you viewers can see it here. There we go. So this is the hook I'm talking about. Now, why is this hook so useful? Well, this hook is useful because it lets you put that Ziploc bag that you poked 2 holes into, and you're able to hold, and you don't have to worry about holding it, or in the case of when I shot 268, the battery dropping and the recording stops. So what I suggest is when you're preparing for the day you're going to be out rail fanning, I suggest, like I mentioned, to number one, get a Ziploc bag and poke 2 holes into it, and then make sure that when you're shopping for a tripod, you buy a tripod that has a hook. So that way, you're able to connect that Ziploc bag with the 2 holes in it, and you're able to, and that's able to hold the bag, so you don't have to worry about holding the battery. And it's very helpful. It's helped me out really well, and I hope it helps you out. So, if you have any suggestions, if you have any tips or techniques that you have used while out rail fanning, how about sharing them in the comments? And if you like these videos, as always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn those notifications on so you don't miss a single video. And as always, until the next rail fan video, this is Patrick from NS Pittsburgh Line Railfan, signing off.